If you like long walks on the beach, this is not the beach for you. But if you like little short stints on a beach, this is where you go. So maybe we'll have a little romantic dinner down there.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're camped up over here. The only place we can actually stake our steaks in.
It's a little rocky and uneven. A view like that.
Yeah. Hey everybody!
Welcome back to Notier's Frontiers Diaries. We are on Lake Ute currently, which is in New Mexico. It's gorgeous.
It is.
And today we're going to tell you about our little misadventures of getting here. It's day 3 and 4 of our Great Alaska journey. We started off in Missouri at this beautiful campground, but it started off a little bit rough with a thunderstorm. Do you hear that?
Are you asking me or the audience?
I'm asking the audience. Shh. It's the sound of thunder. It's a big thunderstorm coming. Oh, and there was some lightning.
To test the waterproofness of our tent tonight for the first time.
Yep, we haven't been rained on yet, but it doesn't sound like we'll have a dry night.
Yeah.
Can you hear the rains now? There's a lot of lightning. That is Tim with the flashlight, but there's also lightning. At the time we thought, there's no way that we're going to have bad weather because it was just so perfect out. And then it started to get a little hot. We took a little hike to the spillway, which is like a beautiful man-made waterfall down the lake. And by the time we got back, it was like this very still, stifling, humid heat. And I thought, it could be the precursor to a storm.
Yeah, it looked pretty nasty to one direction of the sky.
Yeah.
I don't know what direction in particular, but it was...
And then it started thundering. It's raining pretty hard. And we could hear the thundering for hours before it actually came. The sun set, we got into the tent, we got everything ready for this thunderstorm. We knew it was coming. And then it just poured down on us. There was so much lightning.
Yeah.
It was like
an
every
electric
half a second.
storm. You know?
Yeah.
Like usually there's like electric storms and it's not like insane rain, right? Or else, you know, there's like insane rain with thunder and lightning sporadically.
Right.
But this was like the full on of both modes. This was, you know.
You know, it was really good in a way because we were camping for the second time on our trip to Alaska so far in a whole new tent. It's the same tent that we had before, but a new one. And so we really wanted to test it.
The waterproofness.
Yeah, you had kind of scotch guarded it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we wanted to test its waterproofness. And what better test than a giant thunderstorm in Mark Twain National Forest in Missouri.
So that was nice.
Yeah, it was really, really nice.
We woke up the next morning and it was insanely misty on the lake. I love that, how that happens. Morning. Pretty rainy last night.
Yeah, it cut me up.
Can you get this cool morning mist? You know, it's really, really pretty, and I walked around and took some pictures. And
yeah, the only problem that we were having, the tent held up really well during the thunderstorm, but you had been stung by a bee in your face the day before.
Over the night, the little bee sting that got me yesterday has dramatically swollen. So hopefully I can take out some Benadryl or something. It's not too bad, but it's quite annoying. But I had been stung by a bee because I'm an idiot the day before.
No.
Bees sting idiots. Everybody knows this. But we're on the road and I had my visor up because that's how I prefer to ride. And yeah, a bee got a stinging creature of hell got in there and just started going crazy on my face.
Yeah, you were wearing sunglasses, and I think you got stuck between the
Who knows? I think it was
sunglasses.
He got wedged in between the padding in my face, you know, and then didn't know what was going on and said, "Let's go out in style," and just started.
Just go out in style.
But
we never saw it.
Never saw it, and I do the little freak out dance and pull over as soon as I can and give Marissa my glove and get her on the intercom and say, "Get off, get off, get off."
Yeah, this is not the first time he's been stung in the face.
Because I'm an idiot. That's a reoccurring thing. But now I ride with my visor down, and I highly suggest everybody do that because, you know, there's the risk-reward factor of, you know, like, I tried to point it out to her, Marissa. She's like, I don't see any swelling. I said, it hurts. It really hurts. And then I looked at, like, one of my pores was, like, dilated, you know, and... I
didn't doubt him, but I was like, you know, it looks fine.
Yeah.
And so we just carried on down the road, but then the next morning...
But when I woke up the next morning...
Yeah, it had swollen up.
The best part of waking up is instant coffee in your cup.
So when we were working all winter long, and all I could think about when I woke up in the morning was, one day I'm going to be able to wake up when I want. I'm going to get up and have a view like this. And today's that day.
Yay. I can see like my face without a mirror, and I feel sad for everybody out there because they have to see my face all the time.
It doesn't look so bad right now, but every day it changes a little bit, like where it swells. Sometimes it's like right under the eye, and it kind of squishes his eye out. It looks like he got into a fight.
It looks like I said the wrong thing to Marissa, and she retaliated.
No way.
Yeah. But, you know, it sucks. But I will survive, which is the good thing. And now I have my visor down all the time. You know, I had in my mind frame that I always constantly needed fresh air, but now I realize I constantly need the barrier against all living creatures inside my helmet.
That was the first lesson learned in the past couple of days. The second lesson learned was, well, we made a mistake. It was something that we've done before and have always hated, but this time proved to be really, really bad. We had about a 6-hour day ahead of us, which I know all of you iron butters out there are like, 6 hours, it's nothing. But it was pure highway, and for us, it was very, very strenuous. It was to get to Oklahoma City from Missouri. We wanted to visit Bill and Susan Dragoo in Oklahoma City, but we took the most direct route, which Google said was, you know, taking these highways. And, you know, we have this deadline of getting to the Overland Expo at a certain time, so we really do kind of have to book it. We don't like deadlines. So, yeah, we just hit the highway for the whole day. butt started hurting really bad. My knees, just that wind or something about the highway.
And it's been 6-7 months since we've been on a bike.
It could be many factors. It could be that we're not used to it.
A, we're not used to it. B, like, I think everything on the bike in our sitting position is pretty much the same as our old bike. But wind and time and age. We're 6
we're getting
months older.
About 6 months older.
You could tell. My body, a bee sting. It's like, this is it. There's not even a real reason to heal you at this point. So,
I feel older, though. Like, I mean, these things, they never used to bother me in the same way.
And even my throttle hand, like, you know, starts cramping up. This is all, like, woe is me stuff, I know.
But to make it even worse, it was a beautiful drive. Oklahoma and Missouri, especially eastern Oklahoma with the rolling hills, it's just gorgeous. And the spring green, there were little baby calves everywhere. It was really beautiful. But to make it worse is we got on this Oklahoma turnpike and it had these $5 tolls.
And it doesn't tell you how much it is. It's just like tolls and, you know, X amount of miles. And then you roll up and it's like, all I have is a $5, you know, just put the change in my backpack.
Yeah, the woman said $5. And I thought, oh, she's recognizing that I'm handing her $5. And so I waited for the change. And then she just gave me the little ticket. And she's like, have a great day.
Yeah. For 2 axles.
Yeah, they count it by axles. And of course,
one
done motorcycle.
Wheelie. Been like, it's one axle. Quick. I can't hold this.
Can you imagine if we were on 2 bikes to get to Oklahoma City
$20
through Tulsa would have been $20.
Well, then I threw on avoid tolls. Like, sometimes you can't avoid highways, but you can always avoid tollways, you know?
Yeah. The $10 isn't going to break us, but it was just like added on to the strain of the day, and we were like, man, we really have to never do this again. And you were saying, as we pulled up into Oklahoma City, you said to me over the intercom, you know, there's 2 things I really want to get for the motorcycle.
Yeah, I'm getting the Atlas throttle lock because that's just I just need some format of cruise control, and that one looks awesome. I've seen it in action. I know a lot of people out there have tried it and tested it, and it's awesome. Plus, I love the company, good backstory.
Yeah, we know them.
So that's something I need. And then I wanted to get on like Amazon and buy just some like cheap highway pegs or something. Just so, like, my legs are always locked in kind of like, not a crotch rocket style, but the ergodynamics of the KTM is not 100%. And now that there's a passenger behind me, I don't have a whole lot of shift button room going around.
Yeah, we're pretty squished together.
Yeah, but there is a way on my crash bars that I'm able to put my legs up a little bit, but it's a nice different stretch but where my thigh meets my butt cheek. I don't know what that area is called. My butt pit. My leg pit. But my knee is still locked in a 90 degree. And so I really wanted something so I can stretch my legs out because, you know, just standing up on the bike, it's just to get my knees in a different hinge position is what's really needed. So I told Marissa I wanted a throttle lock and some highway bars.
I said, oh, well, we're going to the expo, you know, that's good. We can maybe find something out there. So we love the Dragoos. They
awesome.
have this thing called DART, which is Dragoo Adventure Rider Training. And Bill Dragoo is kind of like an adventure rider legend. And
GS Trophy Award winner.
Yes.
Just an awesome dude. I took his class back in 2016 or 17 before we took off on our big trip. Learned a lot of, you know, skills.
Yeah, because before that we were just Chicago people. We didn't know anything
we're still
about
just Chicago people.
Yeah, but
but now we've been over to Andes.
Exactly.
But
Bill said to you, he was like,
you want to do anything to the bike, you know, before you head off? And I was like, I just had a long, miserable day, and I'm reflecting more positivity, but I'm like, nah, man, I'm cool. Rah, rah. But I told him that, you know, I want to look for a throttle lock and some highway bars, you know, just because the day was tough on us. So we pulled up to Bill's yesterday. It was a long highway.
Hey Marisa, how are you?
good.
Long highway day, and I was kind of talking to Bill that, you know, I wish I could extend my knees a little because my butt hurts, my knee hurts after long highway days. And for no good reason, he came up with a solution. Well, for a very good reason, but for no good reason, he had some...
It's amazing.
Was it DR650?
Yeah, it came off an old KLR about, gosh, it's probably been 15 years ago that I took that off.
It's so cool.
I've thrown away 1,000 pounds of steel, but I never would throw away those.
It's so cool.
So you might, you know, think, well, hey, those are some Frankenstein bolts popping out, but if we're going down some, you know, more tricky traverse,
Look at that.
they fold in like little bat wings.
Look at
So
that.
I'm going to call it my switchblade, the Dragoo switchblade.
Oh, no.
And he said, I've thrown away 1,000 pounds of scrap metal, but I've always kept these because I always thought these might come in handy one day. And sure enough, he puts them up to my bash plate, and the hinges go pretty much wrap around the bars of the crash bars to hinge in forward. And when you pop them out, it's right at the exact angle where I can put my feet down
and straighten those knees.
And straighten my knees,
like cruiser style.
Yeah, and like at first I was like, well, I don't know, let me think about it, because you know, when they're Frankensteined out, it looks like, you know, it's going to snaggle some things as we're going down trails. But the nice thing is that they're foldable. They're not a permanent thing. And so if you hit something, they fold in. And if we're doing some technical stuff over mountain passes or BDR stuff, they're always going to be in. I'm not going to be highway barring them down, you know. Yeah, and I said, you know what, screw it, let's put them on. Those look awesome.
Yeah.
And a couple, 4 bolts in, tacked on.
So
I took a test ride. Absolutely amazing. So thank you, Bill. You are a genius.
And he saved us in another way, in that the next day we had planned another highway day all the way to our next spot, which was going to be Lake Ute, where we are now in New Mexico, all across the top panhandle area of Texas. Bill said, why don't you just take 152? It's a much more scenic route, and it'll go kind of parallel to the highway, and it'll add 11 minutes to your day. And we were like, yes, we absolutely will. And so we had a much better day.
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed.
See that the rolling hills started flattening out and the grasses turned a little more yellowy, a little more brown, but we saw so many horses.
Yeah, the earth was like, you know, bright red for, you know, it was really crazy. Like parts of it reminded me of like being back in Africa or something, because it's just like this deserty, not deserty, but like, you know, savanna landscape with, you know, the rugged and rough surviving trees that, you know, they're like, we only need rain once a month, you know.
You know what it reminded me of was the Pampas in Argentina, the like grasslands. I expected to see like a guanaco out there somewhere.
We did. We saw llamas the other day. That was crazy.
Yeah, there was some llamas on a farm. We found this little restaurant in the middle of nowhere.
Like where Robert Johnson met the devil to play the blues. It was on the... It was on the corner of absolutely nowhere. I don't know. It was just
absolutely nowhere.
Absolutely and nowhere.
You think we're in Texas or Oklahoma right now?
I think we're in Oklahoma still.
Yeah.
It looks very Oklahoma-y.
It looks very Texan too. And everyone who lived in absolutely nowhere was
They were
at
there.
this place.
All,
it was
yeah.
packed.
The population of the city was 14, and all 14 of those
It
people.
wasn't a city. I don't know where they came from.
Nowhereville. It's crazy. But I'm like, we have to go there. People are driving years to get here. We have to.
There are 10 times more cows out here than people, so I knew the beef was going to be good.
Yeah. And the place is called like Poppy's something or another. But it was
Poppies, yeah.
nice little family, like a true family-owned restaurant.
Yep.
Where, you know, like the granddaughter was helping bringing dishes around and stuff. And
Yeah, you got some ice to put on your face because again, it
nice.
started swelling up really bad again. It was
My
like
eye.
day 3 of swelling. Look at that.
Sucks.
It is so big on your face.
Yeah, I need Benadryl.
Yeah.
Or the bee stung me, and then it wasn't all bad yesterday. And then when
It
I woke up
wasn't.
this morning, I was like, I can't see down or up or left or right.
It's like poofy.
Yeah. I'm hoping by the expo I don't look like the Toxic Avenger.
You're
but
looking better now.
better. We'll see. That's why the camera's so. I was like, I need to be as far away from this camera.
The
as
camera's
possible.
very far.
Yes. You are lucky.
So we went through northern Texas, and there's all sorts of cattle ranches and horses out there. But I will say, though, there are also some interesting smells when
There's
it comes
pockets of
to
like
Texas.
of like natural gas leak smell that's just awful to drive through. And like, when you're on a motorcycle, your senses are out there a lot. When you can't like roll up the windows and be like, "Woo, that stinks," you know.
Exactly.
But it's like 10 minutes of like being in a kitchen where the gas line is just leaking, and you're like, "Woo, this is."
Yeah, it's nauseating.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Texas.
Hopefully this is a more hospitable small town America, not the hills have eyes version.
It's got character. When we got through Texas, we got into eastern New Mexico, and we went straight to Ute Lake, which is where we're at now. Welcome to New Mexico.
Beautiful sunset. There's these little tree things poking out of the water remind me of Social Slay for some reason.
Namibia.
Namibia, just kind of dead things in the middle of deserts, but
It's really beautiful.
yeah, we're making some pasta. It's quite windy, but
Yeah, so we put our little setup in here.
yeah.
Tonight, so it kind of looks like a blood sun right now, kind of orange, but tonight is going to be the blood moon. So we are very excited. We're going to set our alarms and wake up and hopefully see an incredibly red full moon.
Yeah.
But it was so beautiful when we got here, and we pulled up to this spot and we were like, yes, this is where we need to camp. Last night was also the blood moon.
Yeah.
And I set my alarm we wanted to do some night photography, but we had two problems. First of all, this is the one where I'm an idiot. I got the time zones all messed up.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if the moon pays attention to time zones, but it was supposed to be at like 11:20 Eastern time. And I'm like, oh, Central time. I got it all messed up. And there was no service, so my phone didn't know what time it was either. And we missed it.
Well, we woke up for a sliver of it.
Yeah.
I was exhausted and I went to sleep. And it was kind of overcasty, but Marissa saw it through a pocket of a cloud, but I wasn't getting up, and
It was kind of overcast.
yeah, I failed you all.
So today we're going to head through New Mexico. We're really excited about it, and eventually get to Arizona. We have no idea what the day will bring us,
Yeah.
but stay tuned to find
It looks
out.
nice, yeah.
So I hope you liked this episode. If you did, please give us a big thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below so you can get notified of the next episode.
Little bell thing.
Yep, and we'll be seeing you next time.
Peace, everybody.
Bye.
Stay safe.